Private jet charter quote requests go wrong before the quote is even built. Not because the buyer is stupid, because the request is vague, and vague requests create vague options. If you ask for a private jet charter quote with missing details, do not be surprised when the answers come back messy, expensive, or difficult to compare. If you want private jet charter explained for people who care about control, not applause, subscribe to JetMaster. This channel is for serious buyers who want better decisions before they approve a flight option. In a moment, I'm going to show you the 7 details you should prepare before requesting a private jet charter quote. Sedzu adieu desi aziz. These details can change the aircraft recommendation. They can change the route plan. They can change the airport choice. They can change the timing. And they can change whether the quote is actually useful. Let's start with the blunt truth. A quote is only as good as the information behind it. If you give weak information, you may get a weak quote. That does not always mean the provider is bad. Sometimes it means the request was incomplete. A lot of buyers ask like this: I need a private jet from New York to Miami. How much? That sounds direct, but it is not enough. Which New York airport? Which Miami area airport? What date? What departure time? How many passengers? How much luggage? One way or round trip? Same day return or overnight? Any pets? Any flexibility? Any special privacy, timing, or cabin requirements? Without those details, the quote is not a clean answer. It is an estimate built around assumptions, and assumptions are where surprises hide. So if you want better quotes, stop asking like a tourist, ask like someone who understands the trip. Detail 1. Exact route. Not just city to city. Exact route. Private aviation does not operate in vague geography. It operates through airports. New York to Miami is not enough. Los Angeles to Las Vegas is not enough. London to Nice is not enough. You need the actual airport pair, or at least the airport options you are considering. Destre Ozi Asre E Departure Airport. Arrival airport. And if you are not sure, say that. A good charter conversation can compare airport options, but the quote should make clear which airports are being assumed. Because airport choice can affect aircraft availability, runway suitability, handling, ground time, and cost. A quote from Teterboro to Opa-locka is not the same as a quote from another New York area airport to Miami International. Maybe both are valid, but they are not automatically the same trip. Prepare the route clearly. If you are flexible, say so. If the destination is more important than the specific airport, say that. If you care more about shortest ground transfer, say that. The better the route information, the cleaner the quote conversation. Detail 2. Is adieu and oziu o. Date and departure time. Private jet charter is not just about where you are flying. It is about when. Date matters. Departure time matters. On shezi in itu desiu arbor. Return time matters. In precises and distancers is flexibility matters. Aircraft availability changes by timing. Crew planning changes by timing. Airport operating hours can matter. High demand periods can matter. Weather seasons can matter. Late departures, early arrivals, and tight same-day returns can affect the plan. If your timing is firm, say it. If you have a preferred departure window, say it. If you can leave 1 or 2 hours earlier or later, say it. That flexibility may open better options, but do not pretend a flexible trip is fixed. And do not pretend a fixed trip is flexible. That creates bad planning. A serious buyer says, I need to depart around 9 in the morning. I can move by 1 hour if it improves the aircraft option. Or, I must arrive by noon. That arrival time is not flexible. Those are useful details. They help the quote serve the trip, not just produce a number. Quick interruption. Before we continue, this is exactly why the free 10-day JetMaster private jet charter course exists. Most people do not need more hype around private aviation. They need a cleaner way to think before they request quotes. The course walks through the moving parts that affect a charter decision. Cost, route planning, aircraft fit reduzi airches yedi erzi airport choice, empty legs, safety questions, and what to prepare before asking for options. You will find it in the description and pinned comment. Use it as a private jet charter briefing before you start comparing numbers. No pressure, no sales routine, just a practical way to avoid walking into the quote conversation unprepared. All right, back to the 7 details. Detail 3. Passenger count. This sounds obvious, but it is often handled too casually. Passenger count affects aircraft size, cabin comfort, luggage space, weight, airport performance, and sometimes route planning. Do not just say a few people. Say the number: 2 passengers, 4 passengers, 6 passengers, 8 passengers, and think about who those passengers are. A business team is different from a family. Adults with luggage are different from a couple taking a short flight. Children, pets, assistants, security, or elderly passengers may change the planning. Seat count is not the same as comfort. An aircraft that technically seats the group may not be the right aircraft for the trip. If people need to work, rest, meet, eat, or travel comfortably for several hours, that matters. Prepare the real passenger count early, not after the aircraft is recommended. Detail 4. Schatz, Sas, Shast, luggage and special items. This is one of the least glamorous details. It is also one of the most important. Luggage can change aircraft fit quickly. Golf bags, skis, large suitcases, family luggage, Ezer Osting, business samples, medical equipment, pets, fragile items, oversized bags. These are not afterthoughts. They can affect what aircraft makes sense. If you ignore luggage until the end, you may fall in love with a quote that does not fit the trip. That is not a good quote. That is a future problem. Be specific. How many bags? Any oversized items? Any golf clubs? Any skis? Any pets? Anything fragile or unusual? Will passengers need access to items during flight? A serious quote request includes the real luggage situation, because the aircraft is not just moving people. It is moving the whole mission. Detail 5. One-way, round trip, or multi-city. This can change the economics completely. A one-way private jet charter is not always priced the way buyers expect. Sometimes it is efficient. Sometimes the aircraft has to reposition. Sometimes the operator has another trip that lines up well. Sometimes it does not. A round trip can also vary. If the aircraft waits, that may create costs. If the return is several days later, the aircraft may not simply sit there for free. If the trip includes multiple cities, the plan becomes even more important. So be clear. Is this one way? Same day round trip? Overnight return? Return in 3 days? Multi-city itinerary? Open jaw? Different return airport? Do not hide uncertainty. If you are not sure, say, I am considering either a same-day return or next morning return. Can you show how that changes the options? That is a smart request. It lets the provider compare structures instead of guessing. Detail 6. Flexibility. Flexibility can be valuable, but only if you communicate it clearly. Can your departure move by 30 minutes? 1 hour? Half a day? Can you use a nearby airport? Can you return the next morning? Can you accept a different aircraft category? Can you adjust luggage? Can you travel 1 day earlier or later? Sometimes flexibility helps unlock better availability or a cleaner aircraft plan. Sometimes it does not. But if the provider does not know you have flexibility, they cannot use it. And if you claim flexibility you do not actually have, you create risk. Be honest. Say, the meeting ends at 4, so departure cannot be before 5:30. Or, we prefer Friday evening, but Saturday morning is possible. Or, we can use another airport if it saves meaningful time or improves the aircraft option. That is how adults plan private aviation. They do not just ask for a price. They define the operating room around the trip. Detail 7. Purpose of the trip. This is the detail people often skip because they think it sounds personal. You do not need to overshare, but the purpose matters. A board meeting is different from a relaxed weekend. A family vacation is different from a confidential business visit. A time-sensitive event is different from a flexible leisure trip. A trip with children is different from an executive shuttle. A sensitive trip may require more privacy. A productivity-focused trip may require a different cabin layout. A high-stakes arrival may require less tolerance for schedule risk. The purpose helps decide what matters most. Speed, privacy, comfort, reliability, cost control, cabin space, airport proximity, luggage capacity. If you say only, I need a jet, you may get an aircraft. If you explain the mission clearly, you are more likely to get a useful recommendation. Now, here is the full 7-detail checklist before requesting a private jet charter quote. In size. 1. Exact route or the airport options you are considering. 2. Date and departure time. 3. Passenger count. 4. Luggage and special items. 5. One-way, round-trip, or multi-city structure. 6. Flexibility around time, airport, aircraft, or date. 7. Purpose of the trip. Those 7 details make the quote conversation cleaner. They help separate real options from vague estimates. They help the provider understand what you actually need. And they help you compare quotes without pretending every number was built from the same assumptions, because that is the danger. 2 quotes can look like they answer the same request, but if one assumes a different airport, different luggage, different aircraft position, different return structure, or different flexibility, you are not comparing the same thing. You are comparing assumptions, and if you cannot see the assumptions, you cannot make a serious decision. So before you ask, prepare. It saves time, it reduces confusion, it improves the quality of the options, and it makes you harder to oversell. A prepared buyer is not difficult. A prepared buyer is efficient. In the next video, I'm going to show you private jet booking and the 7 questions to ask before you say yes. Because once the quote is in front of you, the job is not finished. That is when you need to know what to verify before approving the charter. And don't forget, your JetMaster journey starts now.